So you guys remember Josh Wingrove? He was the drummer in the music video that we did, the Freebird music video that we did with Exhorter.
Sounds like this if you haven't heard it.
Or another song from Exhorter that he was also the drummer in.
Sounds like this.
Man, I'm just trying to live life, singing by the moonlight. Swoon this pretty lady and take off her clothes. Keep flirting and I might leave. Fish coming in light speed. Can you take your head straight up to the dome? Now what you say to me determines where I step.
Or the couple reactions he's been on. You know, something like this.
Can we just say it's an Exhorter?
Yo.
Yeah.
Feeling it. Oh my gosh.
Just
can
wait,
can we hear
Carly.
that again?
I know. I can't wait till she hears this
I think
bass
she's
solo.
got things for bass. 'Cause she's
So solid.
Oh my gosh.
Just melts your face. Just so melty.
Stone face Josh. That's my favorite cut, dude.
Just loving life right there.
Look, she's having a moment, dude.
Anyway,
He's a
he
good,
was,
good friend of ours. He's a really good friend of ours. I've known
Yeah.
him in the community. Big time drummer, basically like the best drummer in the state of Wyoming as far as I'm concerned. Really deep into the music community here. Super good dude. Really awesome person to have around. He was involved in a horrible car accident over the last, I think it was this last weekend. And so in order to help him recoup some of the medical bills that he's going to be facing in the near future, we decided that we're going to help him promote his Venmo and his Cashapp on the channel, just because we want to reach out in any way that we can to help him with this, because we love him dearly, and we know what he's about to be up against. And so we have dropped his information into the comment section, or into our description. It's one of the first things you'll see down there. It's his Venmo, his Cash App. They're the same thing, so either one works for if you want to send him any money or help him out or anything like that. We understand money's tight. We're not asking you to do this as a requirement. We're just saying if you'd like to help out our friend, he would greatly appreciate it. And we just...
Yeah, and the big thing is like, number one, he is one of like the nicest dudes you ever meet.
Oh,
one
dude.
of the hardest working individuals.
Yeah.
And he's also got a kid.
Yep.
And he now has a broken neck and a back and lacerated
broken neck,
kidneys
yep.
and liver. I mean,
he's got all sorts of
he's
shit
in
going
rough
on.
shape.
He's very lucky to be here, honestly,
Yeah.
after what happened. If we can find a photo of the vehicle, maybe we should throw
Yeah.
that in as well, because it's pretty tragic.
Yeah,
So
basically rolled 7 times at 80 miles an hour.
Yep.
It was pretty wild.
Yep. So
But yeah, just, I mean, I can't imagine being in his shoes wondering, like, yeah, number one, I got to take care of myself, but I also have a kid that I have to take care of in the process of all of this, and it's very scary. He works oil field, which he won't be able to do for a long time.
Yep.
And who knows if he'll ever be able to drum the way that he has. With these type of injuries, you just never know.
yeah, he's got
It's
a
going
long,
to be a long road.
long road to recovery ahead of him, and we're just here to help him out any way that we can. And if you guys want to join us in that journey or join us in that fight, we would love the help. Information is in the description below. Just wanted to get that out before we start these episodes. We appreciate the hell out of you guys being here. And if you want any more information, our Instagram handles are in the description as well. We're more than welcome, or more than happy to talk to you about what's going on, things like that. So
And don't donate to our PayPal.
No.
Donate directly to him.
we have
send
his
it to him.
actual Cash App and Venmo there. That's the one you want,
Yes.
and you'll see it right down in there. So thank you guys for being here. And with that, let's get on with the episode, shall we?
Get to the video.
All right.
We still had a better commercial than Josh Allen did this Super Bowl. So
Oh, I didn't see any of them, but I believe it. We did
It
that at
was-
the exact same time. That was...
it was shot by UW, if that tells you anything.
Oh, I heard about that. That was going to be a thing. I didn't actually see it. We'll have to look that up. You'll have to show it to me.
Not worth it.
307 Reacts. What's up, everybody? My name is Matt. His name is Chris.
Yo!
You guys all have names. They're either your internet tags or they're your actual names. That's one of the two. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But
It's both.
regardless, you guys are the best audience in the world that I've ever seen. I've heard how the other YouTube channels talk about you. Dude, we come to bat for you. We're like,
Yeah.
no. Those guys, best audience ever. Best audience in the world. Quick couple of things. Just got to get a few things out of the way really quick before we get into the video. I know you're all here for the Fat Files, Fat Electrician. trust me, I'm here for that too. We just got to cover a couple things really quick. First things first, thank you guys for sitting through our intro with Josh. He is on the road to recovery. He's doing very, very well. He's recovering very quickly. He appreciates the hell out of all the donations he's received. However, his Cash App link is still available down there. Yeah. He's still taking donations. Bills haven't even started rolling in yet, so he's got a long ways to go yet. However, he's recovering and doing well. So you're going to see that promotion for another probably maybe a couple weeks. Then we're going to roll that promotion out with our new promotion, which is going to be some shots of the PC that I recently built with our good friend Doobie. You see him in the comments. His name is Alex Rich. He goes by Doobie, Alex, and
Doobie,
Charles Rich. That's the other one. Yeah, he helped me build the PC. We have an entire Patreon episode dedicated to the build of that PC. So if you'd like to check that out, there's also a Patreon episode. There's actually 2 episodes up on.
There they go.
2 episodes up on Patreon. You good without them for this? There's actually 2 episodes up on Patreon since you guys see the posting of this video right now. So there's things going on over there. We're cooking over there. Lastly, that's it, right? The last thing is the live stream, right?
Yes.
Yeah, live stream. Yeah. Yes. So this Saturday, which would be 2 days from now if this comes out on time. If it comes out on Friday, then it's tomorrow. But we're going live 9 a.m. right? Mountain Standard Time. So set your clocks, do your thing, figure out hours, how far back you are on the time zone schedule clock thingy. 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're gonna take some reaction requests from you guys in order to recoup some value to basically refurbish our drum set back there so that we can start having live bands in here and start doing live streams with live bands. That thing is in major disrepair and it needs some work. So if you've had a reaction that you've been wanting us to get to for a long time and we haven't gotten around to it because our list just keeps growing and growing, Saturday's your chance. Come on over and hang out, and there's a chance we could get to it. So that's all I have.
That's all we have.
On the screen in front of us, it's a fat electrician. Pablo Escobar's hippos might cause the apocalypse. So you mentioned something about the hippos. What is what is going on?
Oh, believe me, he can tell you far better than I can. But this shit's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
It's crazy and fucking
hilarious. I know nothing about what we're about to get into. So, like with most fat electrician stuff, I come in as totally blind, and I'm just, by the end of it, I'm like...
Now, this is one I have seen. I believe I watched this...
You don't have a microphone, so just remember that.
Before we got into...
Microphones are gone, we're on
the
camera.
Fat Electrician, or at least started featuring him on our channel. And this was, like, probably one of my favorite stories so far.
Okay.
That's just like kind of a random, like, what the hell?
All right.
So well, that and I guess the Band of Beavers. If you haven't seen that one,
that's a
great one too. So
we got a lot of fat electrician on the list. He's got a lot of content, and every episode is awesome. So it's gonna keep coming. Just stay tuned. With that, let's get right into it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That's kind of all we're asking for. All the other stuff that we've talked about is just kind of subsidiary things. Like, comment, and subscribe.
84% of you aren't subscribed.
84% of you guys are not subscribed. So
here, let's go.
Let's just hit the button. It's totally free for you. It could change our lives forever. If the 84% subscribed, it would be like we wouldn't have to go to work tomorrow. It'd be like, well, we're good. Well, this is work now, and that's kind of the goal. So please hit that subscribe button. Join us for the ride. Let's learn something, shall we?
Channel Band of Beavers, when America airdropped beavers into the woods to save the environment, and I was like, wow, that was a pretty funny video. I wonder if there's any other funny conservation stories. So I looked into it, and yeah, there are.
Great. I'm going to pause it just to get screen control.
Today we're talking about Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos that are currently messing up the ecosystem in Colombia, threatening the entire Amazon rainforest, and that Colombia also can't get rid of because some court in the United States granted cocaine hippos personhood, which is potentially groundbreaking legal precedent.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicholas,
what?
Did you get a beer vending machine?
Maybe.
Why?
For the home gym downstairs.
What home gym?
Crandall Fitness sponsored the video and gave us a home gym.
But we have a gym membership.
Well, first of all, I want to be able to lift weights the way the Lord intended.
Hell yeah.
That's disgusting. You should wear clothes.
Home gym's already ruined. Anyways, Crandall Fitness, small business based out of Texas. They have a couple of employees. It's ran by a husband and a wife that were mad during the pandemic that they couldn't go to the gym and they couldn't really afford any nice gym equipment, so they decided to design and have their own made so that normal people can afford fancy home gyms and not have to worry about their gym being closed. The equipment's high quality. I don't know, it's heavy. I pick it up, I put it down. It hasn't broken yet. What else more could you possibly want? Anyways, I'm gonna have a link and a discount code down below. Go check out Crandall Fitness. Let's get back to the video. All right, from the top, Pablo Escobar. He's the #1 drug kingpin of the 1980s, if not of all time. Under his reign, I guess you would call it, his cartel was responsible for about 80% of the cocaine globally, and they were making about $22 billion a year, of which Pablo Escobar was profiting $60 million a day to himself. Pablo Escobar was making so much money selling nose beer that he was actually...
Whoa, dude. What? $60 million a day? Holy... I knew Pablo Escobar was like...
He was loaded.
It's Pablo, right? I didn't know the actual, like, statistics on it.
Yeah.
That...
He had literally sheds and storage buildings just full of money
Full of
that
cash.
he completely forgot about. Like, they're just
That
hanging out.
is insane, dude.
$1 a day to himself. Pablo Escobar was making so much money selling nose beer that he was actually listed as the 7th wealthiest man on the planet in Forbes for like a decade. And it's hard to comprehend how much money that actually is, but to give you an idea, according to Pablo Escobar's son, when he was a little kid, they were camping one night and they didn't have any firewood, so Pablo Escobar burnt $2 million in cash so that they could make some s'mores.
I haven't had anything yet, so how can I have some more of nothing? You're killing me, Smalls.
Okay, this man was spending $2,500 a month on rubber bands to hold all of his $100 bills together. That's how much money this guy was personally making. This guy made so much money selling nose torque that he didn't even have anything to buy anymore, so he just started spending all of his money on whatever he could get his hands on. By the time he was done, he owned 141 houses, 142 planes, 20 helicopters, and 32 yachts. And at some point along this spending extravaganza, he's like, I guess I'm just gonna start collecting rare, wild, exotic animals because there's literally nothing else I can spend my money on. He had a rhino, he had an elephant, he had a giraffe, he had a bunch of exotic birds, and one of the things that he smuggled in was 4 baby hippos, 1 male and 3 females. And as those hippos grew and matured, Pablo Escobar may or he may not have fed people to them based on their ethnic background, or at least that's what the Netflix TV shows led me to believe.
Si me apendejaba, si me iba a echar ahí con los hipopótamos esos.
Hipopótamos tampoco les gustan los mexicanos.
Either way, fast forward to 1993, Escobar's compound gets raided, it all gets turned over to the Colombian government, and they have to figure out what to do with this entire zoo that this man has living in his private compound, and pretty much all of the animals get turned over to either zoos or sanctuaries. All of them except for the 4 hippos, and I can hear the comment section already. Buh! That doesn't make any sense because if you can transport an elephant, why can't you transport a hippo? Buh! Okay, look, I understand your logic going into this. That's a big-ass animal. That's a big-ass animal. If you can move one, why can't you move the other? Simply put, it's because elephants and other large animals can be reasoned with. You know what I mean? You can roll up on an elephant and be like, hey, chief, proposal, how about I give you some peanuts and you get your big ass on the truck? And they're gonna be like, okay, I'll walk my big goofy ass ears up on the truck for you. You can't reason with a hippo, all right? Hippos are territorial assholes that will kill you for no other reason than the fact that you got a little bit too close for their liking. They are the deadliest animal on the planet, responsible for killing over 500 people per year. Buh! But I still think they're kind of cute. Buh. Okay, first of all, no it's not. Objectively speaking, it looks like Voldemort fucked a grizzly bear, okay? Secondly, there's nothing cute about this animal. It's absolutely horrifying, okay? You're like, oh, it's chubby and it's cute. No, it's not chubby, okay? It is almost 4,000 pounds of straight muscle and bone. Hippos are so dense, they can't float, okay? Are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? Hippos can't swim. Most people are probably hearing this for the first time. No, they sink to the bottom of the river and then they run along the bottom of the river, and then when they get out of breath, they jump up, get a breath, and sink back down again. Okay, and just so we're on the same page, 4,000 pounds is bigger than most cars. Like a Toyota Corolla is like 3,000 pounds. This is literally a semi-aquatic muscle tank that's got 12 to 18-inch stalactites for teeth that maxes out at 19 miles an hour on foot, okay? It's absolutely horrifying. This animal is so unstoppable. It has no natural predators. You can make an argument that when they're a baby hippo, they might get eaten up by alligators or lions, and that does happen once in a while. But even then, there's accounts of alligators letting baby hippos chew on them like chew toys when they're teething, because the alligators know at this point that if they hurt the baby hippos, all the full-grown hippos are going to dismantle them. Once hippos reach maturity, there's absolutely nothing that can kill them, okay? You can get on the internet and find videos of a...
It's become like an evolutionary... what do I want to say? It's just like ingrained in their evolutionary like genetics that like, yeah, we just don't fuck with the hippos. Yeah, because like, yeah, but what about the baby ones? Like those ones are easy to get. You're like, yeah, but if you get the baby ones, the big ones come after you, and they'll stomp you to death and then rip your head off of your shoulders and eat you alive. So we just chill, and the babies come over and hang out, and it's like goat yoga, you know, and you just kind of like let them do their thing, and then they move on.
Right.
And then you don't get eaten alive, and it's pretty great. Pretty great. What a wild thing, dude, that like the alligators have just come to this agreement.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Yeah, we are an apex predator, but this is also an apex predator, and like we need to we're good. Yeah. It's fine. We both exist here. Let's just do our thing, right, and move on. Crazy, dude.
Once hippos reach maturity, there's absolutely nothing that can kill them, okay? You can get on the internet and find videos of a pride of lions attacking a single full-grown hippo, like lions on the hippo's back biting it, and the hippo's just walking towards the river completely unfazed because it's not even hurting him. The only thing that kind of regulates the hippo population in Africa is the dry season, because once the rivers and the ponds dry up, the hippos can't survive. Okay, do you understand what I've just told you? This animal is so fucking gangster, the only known predator it has is the dry season. Literally, the only thing capable of taking it out is Mother Nature with a natural phenomenon. Sorry, we're unhinged at this point, but my point is, you're not getting the hippos on the truck to move them if they don't want to be moved, and hippos don't want to be moved. They want to be left alone to do hippo things, and that's what's going to happen. So all these Colombian Special Forces guys that broke in and raided Escobar's compound are like, I guess we're leaving the hippos here. And then over the course of the next couple years, either somebody just let the hippos out, or the hippos broke out into a nearby river system, and they've been living there ever since. Okay, now fast forward 30 years from 1993 to 2003, they know of 170 of these hippos, and there could be more out there. So the hippo population in Colombia is growing exponentially, and it's estimated to reach 1,000 hippos by 2030 if we don't do something about it. And this is an environmental disaster, not just because the hippos are dangerous to people, but because the hippos poop in the body of water that they reside in, and their poop is so toxic that it creates this algae, and these large cultures of algae start floating around the top of the water, and this algae actually eats all the oxygen out of the water, which kills off all the fish, and not having fish kills off all the birds, and it's fucking up the entire ecosystem in Colombia. And there's nothing to stop it or even kind of slow it down because there's no dry season in Colombia, which means that pretty much every hippo born in Colombia is living out its entire lifespan of roughly 50 years, and every female hippo gives birth to roughly 7 other hippos, and their population is going to continue to grow exponentially until some of them are forced to move into other areas of water. And if those hippos make their way into the Amazon rainforest, we're all fucked. Because the Amazon rainforest is one of, if not the biggest ecosystems on Earth that helps stabilize the climate of the entire planet, because it stores 200 billion tons of carbon. And if we mess up that ecosystem, it could have planetary-wide implications, and who knows what's going to happen. So clearly, we got to get rid of these hippos, right? We're going to have to cull and kill off all the hippos. It's the only option. It's not fair. It sucks for the hippos, but that's just what has to happen, right? Apparently wrong. In 2009, one of the hippos was being extremely aggressive towards fishermen, and the army stepped in to kill this hippo before it started killing fishermen that were trying to feed their families. And they posted a picture of this dead hippo that they had just killed named Pepe on the internet, and the planet had a fucking meltdown because the Colombian government was killing hippos. Now, obviously, when I say the entire planet, I'm being hyperbolic, and what I actually mean is a bunch of self-righteous, entitled pricks. I mean, animal rights activists from first world countries that don't actually know or understand anything about the environment or conservation as a whole, but they do know that it feels good to save animals in between sips of their Starbucks Frappuccino by bitching at people on Twitter. So, because a bunch of people whose opinions shouldn't even matter in the first place are going to be upset if Colombia kills these hippos, for the past 15 years, they've been trying to find a different alternative besides killing them in order to get rid of all these hippos. First thing they did, they tried to capture some, put them to sleep, and then neuter them.
This is Bob Barker. Have your pet spayed or neutered.
I'll just die already.
It didn't go that great. Like I said, it's 4,000 pounds of muscle. And if you didn't know, male hippos have internal genitalia, meaning that it's really hard to tell male from female. And it's also very hard to neuter them because you have to cut through 4,000 pounds of muscle to get to any of the genitalia in the first place. And then the hippos didn't have great outcomes as far as surviving the surgery and being released back into the wild. So next thing we could try, we could tranquilize the hippos. And then while they're asleep, we could transport them to a zoo or a sanctuary of some kind, right? That's a halfway decent idea if you don't think about it. I mean, what happens when you tranquilize a hippo? Well, where are the hippos? First of all, they're in the water. What happens when you tranquilize something? It falls asleep. What happens if a hippo falls asleep in water? It sinks because they don't float, and then they fucking drown, and you can't get a 4,000-pound animal out of a river in time. So after like 10 years of trying alternative methods, 2020 rolls around, and the Colombian government's just like, I mean, there's nothing else we can do. We're just gonna have to cull and kill all these hippos. It's literally the only option without having planetary-wide implications. So naturally, a bunch of animal rights activist groups got together in the US and they sued the Colombian government because they were gonna kill the hippos.
But Saul, how can I sue these people and institutions? I have no grounds. Do me a favor. Let me answer that question in person. Better call Saul.
During this court case, because the hippos have never set foot in the United States of America, they literally have nothing to do with the United States in any way whatsoever, and the United States legal system has no jurisdiction over it at all. The federal judge in this court case had to declare the hippos interested persons so that they could even hear the court case in the first place. But by doing that, this judge inadvertently basically admitted that hippos have personhood, which means that they have human rights. And with the way the US court works, once one court decides something, it sets a precedent, and all the future court cases get to refer back to it all the time, which means hippos, and potentially by extension the entire animal kingdom, could now have human rights.
Anyone can be anything!
And let's be honest, if you've made it this far into one of my YouTube videos, I know exactly where your brain just went. You're like, holy shit, this means the hippos have the Second Amendment, and the only thing scarier than a hippo is a hippo with an AR-15.
You don't need an AR-15. Buy a shotgun.
Yes, Joe Biden, or hippos with shotguns. I don't care. Hippos with guns are terrifying. Now, obviously, that's ridiculous and silly, and we're just joking around. However, what you should actually be concerned about is the potential that next time you accidentally, hit a deer with your car, now your friendly neighborhood tree hugger environmentalist can take you to court and try to have charges pressed against you for vehicular manslaughter because you didn't just accidentally hit a deer, you killed a person with your car. Because now animals aren't animals, they're people, and people have human rights, and it completely upends our entire understanding of how the law functions today. Thankfully, this is probably not going to end up happening. I read through a bunch of actual lawyers and legal scholars analyzing this, and their conclusion is that it's kind of a bullshit technicality and it shouldn't ever set a precedent. However, shouldn't still implies that it kind of sort of might one day, which is horrifying. Yeah. But U.S. law and precedent aside, it's affecting the Colombian cocaine hippo situation because it's putting a ton of political pressure on the Colombian government. Now, in order to fully appreciate what is going on here, you really got to put yourself in the Colombian politicians' shoes, right? On one hand, you've got an environmental disaster with potentially planet-altering implications that's being instigated by cocaine hippos from Pablo Escobar. And on the other hand, the United States, the country whose military budget is literally twice the size of your nation's GDP, just came out of left field and they were like, oh, hey, by the way, the hippos in your country, no other hippos and no other animal in the planet ever, for that matter, has ever been considered a human. But the cocaine hippos in your country, we consider them to be people now. And the Colombian government is like, what the fuck does that even mean? If we cull these hippos to save the world, are you guys going to consider that a genocide? Or what's going to happen? You're going to put an embargo, quit doing business with us, wreck our entire economy over some hippos? What? And that's pretty much where we're at today. Nobody really knows what's going on. The Colombian government doesn't really know what to do because everybody's too busy arguing about the moral and ethical dilemma of killing off hippos/people while the hippos are in the background pooping all over the rivers and the ponds, killing off all the fish and the birds, destroying the ecosystems of Colombia and potentially by extension in the future the entire Amazon rainforest. And nobody's doing anything about it. I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror. You know what I mean? Because maybe I'm simple, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm just a horrible person and I don't see the value in all animals' lives in relation to saving the entire planet. However, I feel like the options are pretty simple. A, save the environment. B, give a fuck about the feelings of people that don't know what they're talking about because it will make them feel better if hippos don't die, even though they wouldn't know about it if they did. And somehow, the feelings of random people is winning while the clock is ticking down to an environmental catastrophe. The entire thing has made me lose so much faith in humanity, it's unbelievable, because I'm now absolutely certain that aliens could crash land on Earth, aliens, from the movie Alien, not intelligent life forms. Their sole purpose is to run around and kill anything that's alive. Those things could crash land and start murdering everything. And I guarantee you there would be activist groups that were protesting to make it illegal to fight back against these aliens because they have a right to live too.
I do not call them aliens because alien is a derogatory term for anything.
That's so true.
Even extraterrestrials.
That's where people are at, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, my personal opinion, and this is going to show you how horrible of a person I am, I don't think the Colombian government should kill off all these hippos. I really don't, because that would cost the Colombian taxpayers money, and that's dumb. The Colombian government should issue tags and let a bunch of foreign, rich, wealthy hunters come in and kill hippos for $100,000 a piece. They'll pay money to fix the problem for you, and then you can take all the millions of dollars that would net Colombia and put it back into preserving and helping the environment, which has been damaged by these hippos. But we're never ever going to do that because that would make sense, and making sense usually hurts people's feelings. So I guess this is just where we're at. I'm sorry, this video got way more angry and unhinged than I ever thought it would. So I guess in conclusion, this is a story about how Pablo Escobar, the drug kingpin, smuggled in 4 baby hippos into Colombia, and now, generations later, all of the hippos are somehow considered people, and they're going to destroy the Amazon rainforest, and nobody's going to do anything about it because a bunch of self-righteous know-nothings think they're helping. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the video is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. I need a fucking beer.
Same, dude. What?
999. 1,000. I thought you said we couldn't lift naked anymore.
It's so much better this way.
He's just like... and like, what a... See, why isn't it that the government wouldn't consider an option like that? Sell it off as hunting trips, you know, and like have hunters come in and shoot the hippos. Like why even after that's been presented is the government like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's like the answer.
Like he was saying though, because one stupid American judge, just so he could hear the case,
right, you're
said,
right.
You know, it's considered
they're people,
concerned persons, okay. And like that, as far as I know, that case never went anywhere. But he had to classify the case as this, and the case probably got thrown out.
I'm
like,
sure.
We don't even have jurisdiction there or whatever. But like to initially hear the case, he had to write it down and document it as this. And now,
because of that one entry or whatever,
that
they've been considered people.
Like basically, the U.S. has to be like, listen. This is becoming an issue for us, or for you guys. It's going to be an issue for everybody.
For the world, yeah.
Like, I think once the U.S. goes in and says, listen, you need to do something about this.
This is what we're doing.
At that point, then they'll make a decision.
Yeah.
But
it would be so smart to just sell that. Because, I mean, it's not a hunting trip I could ever afford. But I know there are plenty of people out there who, like, that's their thing. They like.
I know a lot of people here in Wyoming.
Oh, they would love that, dude. They would love that.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys that I work with that, like, one of them just did was it gazelles or something like that? I can't remember.
Okay.
A couple of years back or something like that. Went to some African thing or whatever.
Yeah, was that one of the ones where they like trank them and then they take a picture with them?
I think so. It might be. I can't. I don't know the full. He may have fucking.
Because my grandpa did that with like lions. So
yeah,
he went.
He may have straight up shot one. I don't know what the deal was, but they get to talking about hunting and guns, and I'm just like, this isn't for me. So well, I'll see you guys later. But yeah, I think that would be that's the best option.
Yeah,
to do the thing, right?
Because then the government's still making the money off of that. They get to put that money back into cleaning up that river.
Whether or not they will put it back in, the money recirculates to be available to fix the problem, or to
potentially there's a chance that they could.
Exactly, but we're talking about the government here, so who knows? All of a sudden, you get all this money from these hunting trips, and then where'd that money go? And they're like, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe we should just move on, and then before you know it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
I'm here to help.
From the government. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
from 4 baby hippos.
Yeah.
That's what Pablo bought.
Yeah.
And now they're just now
Everywhere.
it has potentially world like it could cause world problems.
Yeah.
Like legitimate world problems.
So like, and you know,
from Pablo Escobar, dude. And he died? Did he die? Or is he still around?
I believe he died in prison.
I think he died, right? Yeah, he died.
Yeah. It's
what a legacy to leave, dude.
You know, and that's the thing though, is like there's so many people out there talking about what's good for the environment and they have no fucking clue.
That's a good point.
Like I was on a logging crew for a while, and like the thing is like when you do logging, like a lot of people, they're just cutting down trees and you know, blah blah blah, whatever. It's like they're not cutting down live trees. The only reason they would ever go through and cut down a live tree is to put a road, which is like pretty. I mean, you might cut down a couple thousand trees, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not too much.
Yeah.
The only reason that they go in there, or the only things that go in there to retrieve, are either trees that have been killed by pine beetle or pine rot, trees that are already dead just due to whatever. And they go and clear those things out. Now, here's the benefit to that. When wildfires start up, dead trees catch fire very fast. Living trees are very hard to catch fire unless they have a lot of dead shit around them. So a lot of these logging crews, when they go in and take lumber out, they're typically cutting down dead stuff. Unless it's a tree farm dedicated to a specific thing, which those exist too.
And sometimes there are areas of overgrowth that just need to be need to be cut down just for like fire prevention and things like that. And they do that thing too. And
that's California's big problem is they don't allow people to go in and clear out all the dead brush and the dead.
Yeah.
They don't do any of that, and then they have these crazy wildfires. They're like, oh my god, why is this happening? It's like, well, fuck, dude. You didn't clean up your woods like you were supposed to.
We've had these visions in our head ingrained from like childhood of watching cartoons and stuff. Of when you watch like logging machinery and things like that, they just roll up to a field with trees and they cut them all down. They're all green and they have leaves on the top and everything. They just chop them all down and then it turns it into shelving on the other side, right? And that's not how that works. It's a cartoon, right? But like that's when I think about logging, that's like the first thing that comes to mind is like Fern Gully. When the logging machine comes in, you know, and starts to cut into their tree, and it's like, this is a living tree. A logging machine wouldn't be cutting down this big tree.
No, I know for us, now every state's a little bit different. I know Wyoming labels theirs differently. But like when we were logging over in Idaho. And the thing over there was white tags are clear to cut. So if they have a white tag on a tree, it's dead, it's good to go. Blues are, hey, this... another company has tagged this tree, whether it's for, you know, hey, we need this tree to produce lumber or paper or whatever, you know, because some companies need specific trees to do specific things.
Sure.
Whatever. Like, we were always just the white trees because we just cut it all down, turned it into firewood. They'd sell it to gas stations and Walmart and fucking everything else.
It's the bundle bags that you see.
And then the purple ones were, hey, this has pine beetle rot, but it's not dead yet. So the purple was like, we got to wait a little bit and then hope it doesn't spread to the other trees. Usually on those purple ones, you'll see some biologists out there injecting something into the tree
try and kill
the beetles off, so that way they don't kill everything in the fucking forest.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's very scientific how they do it. There's certain things you can and can't do. Like, it's definitely... They don't go in there and just chop everything.
It's not willy nilly. It's not. There's a lot of planning and processing that goes into it for sure.
Yeah. So.
But and it ties back into what we were talking about. A lot of people like I don't even understand all the aspects of logging, but there are people who understand it on even less of a level than that. You know, who do just have the vision of the cartoon character going in there and slicing down half the forest in one swipe. You know, and like. These are the people who are getting on the internet and getting mad about stuff that they don't know anything about, and then making governments change or halt or alter how they were going to get something done, getting in the way of things when it's like, this is clearly the best way to do it. Let's just do this. Oh, wait, but it might make these people upset.
Yeah.
These people that don't know anything about what's going on, they might get mad.
Too, is like the government.
And then what?
Like,
what are those mad people going to do? Stay mad? I don't know. Who cares?
And it's such a double-edged sword, too, because politicians should be worried about their votes, because if they lose votes, then obviously they don't have the best interest of the public in mind. Okay, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, hey, as a politician, I've listened to these guys who do this professionally. They're biologists, scientists. They know a lot about this particular thing. This is what they're saying. But on the other hand, I also have 500,000 people who are not going to vote for me next time if I do this. And so it's like, what do you do? And it's just it comes down to, like, if you're going to take a strong stance on something, you should probably know a little bit about it.
You should know about it for sure. And
being in the automotive industry is one of those big, like, everybody wants to move to electric cars because all the carbon emissions, and it's like, dude,
because they've been sold all of these buzzwords that they're like, oh, if I get but I'll be such a prosperous member of society if the TV's made me feel good about doing this thing and investing, going and spending an exorbitant amount of money on something I know nothing about.
And here's the thing, like, diesels do put out a lot of carbon. Okay, so do cars. I don't know if you remember your 3rd grade science class, but plants turn carbon into oxygen.
And you mentioned diesel engines. How do we charge these electric cars?
Diesel generators.
Do we even need to go down that road?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that needs to happen in that industry still. I'm a firm believer in, if we can make it happen, cool, dude. I think it would be an awesome thing for, like, the trucking industry to get semi trucks that are hybrids that are running electric. Dude, that would save a lot on emissions, man. Just that alone, because there's constant truck traffic.
The problem with so back in the, let's say, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? A lot of the cars that were put out a lot of carbon, and they put out a couple other chemicals. Now, 2 of those chemicals are typically, like, made from raw fuel that's not quite burnt all the way. Sure, that can cause things not to grow.
Yep.
Okay, I get that. Now, you fast forward to, like, 2000, they kind of got all that under control with the use of catalytic converters, EGR, that type of thing. But all of these politicians keep pushing carbon emissions. Carbon is not the thing that's destroying
not the problem
things
anymore.
We fixed that in 2000.
Yeah.
Okay, all the unburnt fuel that's coming through the exhaust and just dump it on the ground, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, and then we reformed that in, like, 2008 when we did all the emissions.
But we made
bullshit.
it worse.
Well, I reformed it. That doesn't necessarily mean better.
Right.
Reform can be worse, but yeah, with all the emissions restrictions, we made it.
So what we did is, okay, the cars put out less carbon. That's less, food for plants. And then number 2, with the diesels, they introduced the DEF, or the diesel exhaust fluid system. That stuff, when it goes through it's not a catalytic converter, it's called a diesel particulate filter, kind of the same thing. It uses this DEF fluid, it sprays it into that to clean all that unburned carbon out, and it turns that carbon into straight ammonia. Oh. And then you have straight ammonia coming out of your tailpipe.
Huh.
That sounds great for the environment. Like, you have to have special safety gear when you work on these things. There have been technicians who have died due to overexposure to ammonia working on these.
Working on DEF systems?
Yeah,
nice.
So it's definitely some toxic stuff, and they're like, yeah, this is how we're saving the environment. So
environment saved, carbon down, we're good,
dude.
Like I said, buzzwords, dude. It's all about buzzwords. Carbon emission.
The whole reason they did
carbon footprint.
The government's like, you need to reduce carbon. Cool. We'll reduce that and just put out straight ammonia, dude. Fuck it. Like,
we're not going to reduce carbon. We're just going to replace it with ammonia. There we go. Yeah. Look over there, though. Yeah. Look that way while we do this thing. Look over there. Yeah.
Nick, if you ever come across this, can you please do a video on the EPA 2007-2008 thing? Dude. Just kind of like how that fucked the whole automotive industry.
Yeah, when 2008 rolled in and they did the emissions shit, all the restrictions shit, that you should definitely, that would be awesome. I would love to see you do a video on that. That would be amazing.
That probably hasn't played out to its end yet. But.
Oh, I'm sure we're still going through that, especially now with the electric changeover shit and hybrids and all that.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not against electric cars. I think that, I've driven my boss's Tesla.
That's where I'm at.
Fantastic ride.
Yep.
They're a lot of fun. They're really cool. The range on them kind of sucks. Like, if you're going to take a road trip on it, you really have to plan out your charging stations. Hope you don't have that nasty Wyoming headwind.
They're not much of a Midwest travel vehicle.
No.
They're more of like an East Coast, West Coast, where you've got multiple stops in like, 30 to 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're cool. The technology isn't there yet. People ask me about them all the time when they come into the shop. What do you think about all this electric car stuff? I think they're cool. Just the technology just isn't there yet.
It's the same opinion I have with VR, dude. Like, I think it's great. I think VR is awesome. It's just not quite, and I've had this opinion for the last like 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just not quite there
yet. And the
yet.
new stuff's pretty good.
It's getting real close.
It's pretty good.
It's getting real close.
But
just like with EVs, like we're getting there. We're getting close. There's just something that's just not working.
Yep.
Just not quite working. But give it another 5 years and we'll see where we end up. You know, like I fully expect someday to be able to put on some super lightweight, super immersive VR goggle set and just get lost in wherever.
Like, it had this like little chamber thing you just walk into. And
something,
you're just like,
dude, and you're completely immersed and like it's completely sound isolated, and this is just where you go. You know, like I expect that. I expect that to be a thing someday. I expect someday to have an electric car that has 1,000-mile range on it.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have to pay for all that upgrades and extra battery storage and space and all that shit, but you should be able to drive it.
Which
1,000
lithium
miles.
mining is fucking crazy too. That's horrible for the environment. But
Someday, but as of right now, we're just. I'm not convinced yet.
What do I know? I'm just some bitch.
I'm just some bitch.
Just some bitch.
That's all we are, man.
Oh, man. Well, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, click the bell, become part of the notification gang, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Bow.
And then the audio stops right when the camera turns off. The audio's gonna stop because the microphones don't work, everybody. See you next time.